Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Stargirl Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Shiv Part 2. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. Although, before we actually talk about the episode, it's probably worth mentioning the news that dropped just today, on the day of recording, which is that Stargirl has been renewed for Season 2, but notably, not by DC Universe, which is... I mean, it's not actually that unexpected given everything else. In a vacuum, this would be kind of weird, but obviously we kind of saw this coming in a lot of ways. But the CW have renewed it for season 2, and season 2 will just be a CW show, which it has some concerns. There's some red flags there with that. Mainly Supergirl, which had a similar kind of move, suffered
it's made
for
my
it.
motivation and excitement for the show decrease considerably, just because we've seen this before. I'm like, oh god, it's just not going to be the same. Next season, I just know it's not.
I'm not writing it off yet. I'll give them a chance because it's not like Legends still isn't pretty great, and it's not like Black Lightning was very successful of feeling different to the rest of the shows. So hopefully it'll still keep its identity and not be forced into the CW way of telling stories. Especially because I don't think I actually said in the announcement if they're planning on, is this still going to be like a summer show for them so that they've got like some content for that time of year, or are they planning on moving this to the regular part of the year, or maybe being mid-season or something like that?
It didn't say, but obviously, given everything that's been going on, their schedule, CW itself, is kind of all over the place at the minute anyway, so...
Oh yeah, we know nothing's coming until obviously mid-season this year, but... is this going to be with the regular shows, or are they going to keep this as summer content? Because maybe they liked having this on. Maybe they saw a good reason that, hey, this is actually a good 13 episode show to have on during this time off from the other stuff. So maybe they'll do it. So I'm not writing it off, but there is some concerns. Supergirl being the main one that is alarming. I will say this though. There was one fear that I had that has been alleviated because something was pointed out to me. One of my big worries of this was that they were maybe going to have to move production, which would be very weird given that, the town's a big part of the identity of the show. Blue Valley is kind of, important to it, and that local square and all the rest of it. This actually shoots in Atlanta, the same place as Black Lightning, so there's no reason...
That'll probably be fine then.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to move. It's not like Supergirl where they had to move from LA to Vancouver, because you couldn't pass off like the middle of a city for Blue Valley. Because in my head I was worried that they were going to start doing they'd have some stock shots of the town that they still use, but then it would just all be indoors. It would all be these little places that oh yeah, that's in the town, but we'll never see the main streets again with the characters in it.
That would be really awkward, or give us some weird reason to move.
Yeah, so hopefully it defies the odds, and if it keeps the same writing staff, if it keeps the same production crew, maybe we can actually have something that's not forced to do that. Oh, a character has a secret from another character, we'll have forced drama. Because one of the things that I actually like about this season, and is kind of in this episode specifically, is how they're dealing with the fact that there's secrets going on, and the character's attitude to what Pat in this episode saying, no, we have to tell your mum now. This is him saying as an adult saying, no, your mother has to know. We can't lie to her. This is irresponsible. I'm lying and saying you've been in a car accident to explain these injuries. We can't keep doing this. I'm married to that woman. I have to tell her the truth. So I appreciate the way this show has been handling some of that stuff so far. So
and
hopefully...
he does try and tell her. It's getting there. It feels like it's an inevitability.
Yeah, because I liked when Courtney said no, she'll take it away from us. Pat understands why she's saying that, but ultimately he's not a teenager like her. He's not trying to get one over on her. He wants her to be involved in decision making. She should be involved. I mean, because even when he's saying it's a car accident, this goes back to pretending to teach her to drive, and Barb's like, so you took my daughter out at the first time you took her out driving? She crashed the car and was in the hospital, and
why would you let her the first time behind the wheel be in the dark? And he's like, it's a very good question.
Because the opening scene's obviously him driving the car really fast and then crashing it. And I thought, this is a really random scene. What's going on? But once the context of it, this actually makes a lot of sense. This is the story. This is why she has injuries. Okay, that's actually quite smart.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
He knows what he's doing with this shit, apparently.
It does. We don't give him enough credit. So keep our worries aside, because I think this season has been getting stronger as it goes. Not to say that I think this episode's better than last. I probably prefer last week's, but I do think that this episode again showed kind of a stability with a lot of its elements. mainly the rest of the team working while Courtney's in bed. I thought a lot of that stuff was some of the best stuff we've seen with those characters up until now. I mean, Beth even got a good laugh out of me in this episode.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's because so they're pretending to be father and daughter, right? Because Pat shows up and tries to talk her out of because she's going to recon Shiv's house, and he's trying to obviously talk her out of it, but the door gets answered and they have to go in and make up a cover story. The moment that made me laugh is when Beth is trying to make him an excuse to look around the house, and she's asking to go to the bathroom. And Pat tries to say, "Oh no, I'll be fine. We'll just go. You can go elsewhere." And she says, "Oh no, it won't hold, Daddy-o." It was the way she just hit out with that really quickly. Made me laugh.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Fair enough.
I know you're a Beth hater. I
didn't even remember it being a notable moment for me.
It cracked me up. All right, that's all I'm saying. So no, them all kind of try to troubleshoot while Beth's in the house and Cindy's on her way home, and Wildcat having to pull her out the window and all that. It's as simple as just the hourglass shit is just to catch Beth from a height.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah. No. There's a this is sequence. The Pat stuff was amusing, and certainly would seem to imply that the new mum is a person who's been conditioned. Otherwise, I don't see a robot getting the hots for Pat and trying to flirt with him.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not even sure she's been conditioned in the way the other ones has. I think she's just terrified.
Oh yeah,
and is doing it out of fear at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. So yeah, that was kind of their stuff. That was that side of the episode was Beth trying to get information, finding and there was some little visual gags in the in the goggle stuff with the when she went, because it kept IDing people in photographs, so Facebook with the squares over the faces and stuff. And when she went into Cindy's room, it was just tons of Cindy. It was just like Cindy.
And Henry, to be fair.
And Henry, okay, a little bit of the boyfriend, but it was a lot of Cindy.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah, there's some visual gags, and they're sort of setting up that her dad's actually been all around for. I mean, they don't realize it's her dad yet. They're like, why is this war criminal from 8 years ago up on her wall?
Yeah, doesn't take a genius to figure it out from an outside perspective.
Oh yeah, for our perspective, yeah, we're just assuming okay, our dad's immortal or has been alive a long time because
experiments and shit.
Yeah, he's a mad scientist.
Is the reason.
He's a mad scientist, yeah. And they did because I assumed she stole her mother's outfit. It turns out this was supposed to be her outfit, but it was for her when she was older, when she graduated. This was this is what you'll get when you're ready to come work for the family business. But she took it in advance. And to be fair, it did kind of address. I was complaining that there's no way Cindy shouldn't be able to recognize who Stargirl was, and to be fair to them, they played with that this episode and revealed it. Of course, she knew who she was. It was obvious.
As soon as she shows up at the house, and she's doing there's this whole scene. It's like the whole time you're like, she definitely knows.
I kind of like how evil she is, in the little ways. It was kind of the same with the gambler last time. It was. See when she was eating the chocolates, did she try one and go, "Oh, I don't like that one. You can have that one." Is that after she's already bitten into it? I'm like, that's just evil.
Yeah,
it's evil. Yeah. Plus, her choice of flavors is she
cherry being the best one. Like what?
She threw away a maple cream chocolate and then was excited about the cherry. Come on, get a hold of yourself, woman. Right?
Cherry's such a weird flavor for me in everything. Like I love cherries, like actual cherry. Like I think that they're a fantastic fruit. Cherry flavoring in things is just atrocious every single time.
Yeah, cherry flavored Coke or whatever, it's all disgusting.
Dr. Pepper, yeah.
Dr. Pepper's disgusting. I want no part of it.
Yeah,
I want no part of it. There's a lot. I mean, there's lots of lovely, fruity flavored chocolate. I love the orange and strawberry flavors when you get them in the box.
Oh, like the cream ones.
Yeah. I love those. Those are great.
Yeah. Those are great.
But cherry, no, not a big fan.
It just fails as an artificial flavor.
Yeah. I've never even had a maple cream. I like maple. I like cream. I don't know what maple cream's like, but it sounds great.
You're just assuming it's fantastic.
Sounds great. So, but I love her being evil in these little dicky ways,
Yeah.
It's just good. So, and it kind of, obviously everyone kind of, and again, I like that she immediately tells everyone, like, hey, she knows who I am. This is dangerous. Like, this is bad. Pat finds out. Everyone's finding out. And despite the fact that the staff tries to stop her from going, Cindy still grabs the staff, still sort of talks them into it, I guess, and goes after Cindy. And I kind of like this, just flying through her bedroom and coming for her because she knows where she is. There was no holding back.
Yeah, it's reluctant. The staff is reluctant because Pat had a little speech to her earlier about, look, Courtney doesn't really know what she's doing. She's trying, she's learning, but when you think it's too dangerous, you've got to get her out of there. And it's not until that she says, they're in trouble and Pat's in trouble that it's like, okay, fine, we'll go.
Yeah, it's worth the risk at that point. I did like the scene of Pat talking to the staff though, where he says, if you've understood me, light up or something. It just sits there. He's like, I'm talking to a stick, and he just walks up. It was that thing where the way it cut to the staff for a reaction shot essentially, and it didn't do anything. It was
just
like
nothing. Yeah,
that was amusing. That was good.
Yeah. Good. Other little things around this kind of point in the episode. Courtney needs to learn some chill when it comes to texting. She's just wait for people to reply.
Oh yeah, she gets upset that no one's replied to her far too quickly.
But it's she's like what's going on, and then she's like answer me like 3 seconds. It's like Jesus, they can't. I would still be halfway through typing my reply even if I was looking at the text as it came through.
I think the point of that was to show how agitated she is sitting in bed. Like there's not so much that she's normally like this when she's texting. It's more that she's just
learn some chill.
Yeah. There's a nice moment with the brother, with Mike. Where he came in and apologized for being a dick last episode, and even said he's happy to have her as a sister, and it was kind of sweet.
I had to think about if I liked it or not, because at first I'm like, this feels really cheesy and almost unrealistic. But then I'm like, well, I mean, suppose if he's thinking, if he plays it up in his mind, it was like a near-death experience crash. Maybe
guilty
conscience and all that. He's gonna get it off his chest.
I think obviously it's serious for the parents, but for him, like maybe he's hyping it up even more of his mind that she nearly died last night. Whereas from Pat, it's like, okay, this is serious. She's hurt, but she was never in life threatening.
Yeah, but he doesn't really understand. Yeah, as a kid, he's playing. I was like, what if she died? God, what if I didn't tell her?
Yeah. So Cindy just comes out, and I think, do you know what? Probably my favorite thing about this show, in terms of comparing it to like network shows and specifically the CW shows, again, something I hope it doesn't lose in its second season, is that it's not so much that there's not certain things that it stalls with. It's obviously it's a serialized show and it moves the things forward, but I think the overall plot pacing is very good in the sense that, if this was a CW show, I feel like we'd have like 3 episodes after this of not knowing Cindy knows she's Stargirl, and then we'd have another 3 episodes of her of Courtney thinking, what should I do because Cindy knows who I am. I love that this was just boom, I'm just diving into a room and I'm going to try and kick the shit out of her right now. Like there's just no holding back.
That's fun. On that, I think they've known this CW move was coming for a little while, in the edit even.
Because after the first 2, they were all TV length.
Yeah, even this one was the shortest. Yeah, this was like 40 minutes as opposed to the last couple were like 42, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like they've known and they've been told, look, can you just try and make them CW appropriate from the start, or as soon as they could, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Great show can be in that length.
There's some positive. The positives are here is that it's almost impossible for it to be cancelled now for a long time. So if it keeps up the quality, then we'll be happy that it can keep going for a while. Yeah. So I mean that is the upside. I've heard some people online concerned that the budget's going to tank. I'm not entirely sure the budget in this is actually that much higher than a CW show, to be honest. The effects aren't that good.
My concern would be that it cuts back on all the wire work and they just try and do the standard CW effects job. That because I think this gets away with it. Like the effects aren't great. Like they're really not. They're passable at best. Let's be honest. But I think it gets away with it because a lot of the fights boil down to a lot of wire work. And sure, you can have an opinion on the wire work being good or bad, but I think ultimately it's cheaper and easier than the equivalent in CG. And that's my concern, is that they end up doing replacing it with a lot of CG, a lot of just shots of her flying CG instead of just this wire work and the jumping and stuff.
Yeah,
even like the fight in this between her and Shiv, who are 2 relatively normal. They're not like crazy superpowered people, but they're like jumping really high and fighting each other. It's a little bit over the top, in a fun way.
Yeah, no, I liked the fight again. It wasn't as good as the circular thing last episode, but I liked the her blades coming out and But obviously at this point we should mention, there's a subplot in the episode with Brainwave's kid, with Henry, and he is obviously like starting to realize his powers, and not just his telepathy but also telekinesis. And he's floating the key, or he's trying to find out where this key goes, and it ends up being like the secret layer with the outfit and a lot of videotapes, which he's I was almost half expecting a joke of him looking at one of the tapes and going, "What's this?" Because he's he's young enough.
You know what? I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh my god, his age." You're right.
Yeah. Think about it. He'll be in the show's logic anyway. He's born after 2000, so
yeah, he's got to be what, 16 to 18 range.
Yeah, let's call him 17. So he's probably born in like 2003 or maybe 2002 if this is set in 2019.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when this is set.
Yeah, I can't remember either,
but that's they may never have encountered a VHS.
Yeah, because for the first like 4 years of your life, you don't really remember what media you were using then, do you? So by the time he was actually putting things in and pressing play himself, he was on DVDs.
Yeah, you're right.
He definitely was. Yeah, I mean, hell, I was already switched to DVDs by 2002. So I mean,
I think I was slightly after that, but I mean, in terms of you give him 4 years, and we're looking at what, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was like early adopters for like HD, DVD, and Blu-ray at that point. So I mean, we're definitely past VHS then. So
that's a terrifying thought. It's like I saw something, a tweet earlier, kind of on this topic, of a guy going, you know what? I can accept that people were born past punk, and that's fine. But what gets me is when a student talks about music from before they were born, and they're talking about Britpop. And it's like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Is that 90s?
Yeah, it's like mid 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, like Oasis and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing now. Like, we're at the point where I mean, Courtney. I mean, the actress who plays Courtney, I think, just turned 21, so she's just born in the 90s.
Yeah.
But only just.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and I assume Henry's probably about 20 as well, so he's probably.
I think that's why it threw me when you said this comment, because I'm looking at him and like, he looks TV teenager age, right? He looks 20 odd. Let's be realistic, not 16, 15. I don't know. He's got to be in that sort of range in the show theoretically. So I had a bit of a disconnect in my brain of forgetting how old they're supposed to be, I think.
Yeah. But of course he has he sort of shows up here at the end of the episode, and he's hearing both of their thoughts. He's hearing Cindy in her head. So we know what she wants to do here. She's actually saying in her head, "Oh, I should kill her right now. I'll kill her right now and take her out. I need to kill her." And you have Courtney thinking, "I can't die. I have to fight back. Otherwise, she's going to take on the Injustice Society, and who's going to protect my friends?" And I was actually expecting this might be the moment where Brainwave Junior here kind of. Because I don't know if he's going to lean more, good or evil, but I was thinking maybe he'll slightly take Courtney's side because these thoughts are clearly less evil than Cindy's, which are just, I'm going to kill her.
Yeah, maybe he'll end up siding with Cindy, but in that moment, it's like, well, that's a pretty extreme jump to go straight to from him. Like, for her, it makes sense, but for him, that would be a big jump.
Because I definitely think between him and Cameron, one of the evil, villains' sons, like one of those two, one of them is going to be a hero. I just don't know which one. One of them's picking the good path ultimately. They might not go there first. They might sort of toy with evil and then ultimately make the right choice. But one of them's doing it. God damn it.
Yeah, probably. It's the logical thing to do, right? Just to go with it. One of them. I think Henry's probably where I'm leaning to right now. I think
we're spending more time on him.
Yeah, we've spent more time with him. There's been more just where we started with Brainwave being the primary antagonist in the first few episodes, the insistence on Cindy recruiting him, it feels more obvious for them to have him be the one to swerve away and be good instead. Yeah.
But he has to kind of a psychic blast, essentially, and it makes them both go flying. Some of Dragon King's like henchmen or whoever like come and take Cindy because she's fighting when she's not supposed to, and then we see like a drone camera like is seeing all this, and we see Dragon King go, "It's true, he does have his father's powers." Dun dun dun. So, and the next episode's called Brainwave. So we're clearly I think I think the season's progressing very nicely. I think it's kind of a couple of rushed elements, especially in the like 3 to 5 episode range, but
it's slowed back down nicely. Not to a crawl like on CW, but to a nice pace.
Yeah, I think it's done a good job of focusing on something each episode, and like I say, the way characters are kind of, because I think when Bravery was introduced in the first episode, we kind of felt like, oh, here's our villain for the season, and then it was like, no, he already knows who Courtney is. Oh wait, oh no, he's in a coma. Oh, we've introduced Icicle. Like it's I wouldn't say it's quite Agents of Shield levels of pacing. It's not, but it's definitely finding a balance that is much more enjoyable to watch than the CW, because I think our tolerance for CW, and by that I mean what you currently get on Flash, what you used to get in Arrow most of the time, what you get on Supergirl season 2 onwards, our tolerance for that is at a point now where we're going to know relatively quickly in season 2 if it's feeling like it's going that way. It might not be apparent in like episode 1, but
it'll probably be by about episode 3 we'll know.
Yeah. So I really hope they don't increase the episode count. I hope this is like a summer show and they keep it around 13.
That might force them to have a better pace, because obviously Legends is usually around 16.
Yeah, if it goes to 16, I won't be too worried, because Legends handles that quite well. And Black Lightning did too, to be fair. So
yeah.
So if you keep it around that, I won't be too bad. And they've got so many shows. I've got a Superman show starting as well, which I keep forgetting exists. And
I do as well. Have we got to watch that?
We have to watch the pilot, right?
Yeah. I
have to watch the first one.
And the problem is, I don't want to like the pilot.
But I'll be honest,
because...
part of me, I mean, not for review, but part of me does want to watch the first episode of Batwoman season 2 just to see how they explain the change in the actress.
I get it.
I want to see how they do it, because I mean, never watched 2.5 Men. I hated 2.5 Men from what little I saw of it, but I watched the episode that replaced Charlie Sheen with Ashton Kutcher because I just had to see how they do it. I just wanted to know.
See, here's the thing, I want to know. Like you're saying, I do. I don't know if I want to know badly enough to watch it, or if I'll just read someone who tells me afterwards. Sure.
Yeah, I might back out once if I hear about it in advance.
Once you're faced with the actual prospect of sitting down and watching an episode.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. And that was a solid episode though. But not quite my favorite, because I think the last 2 were really strong. I think this one's probably like in that next tier. And I think another example of why I think this season is clicking together, and it's not perfect, but it's clicking together way more than a CW show does. And because I think this is the problem with the internet, is everything's either A or B, and I think there's a large portion of the internet that will look at this and go, yeah, it's ultra CW anyway, what are you talking about? And there's very little nuance. One of my least favorite things on the internet, and I'll admit, this is coming from a comment based on a video that wasn't anything to do with Stargirl, but like there's so many things on the internet where if you say you don't like something, they assume that the only thing you like is the exact opposite of what you said you don't like, which is total nonsense.
Is this like
a scale.
When we say we don't like certain recent DC films and get told we're Marvel fanboys? Because we must like the opposite.
No, this was more, you don't like this one particular art house movie, you must only like Michael Bay movies. that was more the extent of it, right?
Oh, that person does not know you.
But it's just like there's a range. There's just like just because you don't like it when it's a 1 doesn't mean that you'll like it when it's a 10. Maybe you want something that's around a 5 or a 6, and that's not in terms of quality. I just mean on a scale of whatever you're talking about. So,
variety. Yeah.
So yes. So this should have bubbly teen elements, but people see bubbly teen elements and go, that's what makes it CW. No, not really. Yeah, sure, it fits on CW because they have a lot of bubbly teen stuff, but when we talk about not wanting it to be CW, we're talking about writing quality. We're talking about how it structures its stories, how many times in Flash would it be, someone's got a secret, hey Barry, can I talk to you in the hallway?
Yeah, it's things. I think the 2 biggest crutches that I could narrow down to for the CW elements that we're describing here are pacing, especially over those 22 episode seasons, and what I would just call to as repeated elements. Those can be, oh look, this villain's doing this thing again. We must stop them in the same way that we always do, kind of thing, right? Where, oh look, well you'll go out, you'll run around in a circle for 5 minutes. Someone will say, "Run, Barry, run." And you'll go faster, and then problems fixed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those elements.
Yeah, there's probably a formula you could write out for the Flash that would probably apply to about 85% of its episodes. That you could say this somehow fits 85% of these.
Yeah.
And that was okay when I was 5 and I was watching Power Rangers and it had the exact same formula on most episodes, but
and it was the sort of thing where it was okay even 5 years ago when a lot of this superhero stuff was new to TV on this style. Obviously, we've had superheroes on TV for decades, but in terms of this more comics accurate, not necessarily always dead on, but it felt like they weren't shying away from it as much. Kind of since even the early days of Flash embraced a lot of those elements, even if it wasn't all of it, and there was kind of a tolerance that we let some of the actual core TV making elements slide because we were happy to see things that were familiar.
Yeah. This is when I spent right Stargirl. I should mention that Beth Goggles wasn't able to pick up who the mum is, which did actually lead me towards Robot for a brief second. So I'm not actually maybe it's something I can't quite predict yet, but it is worth mentioning that. A small subplot with Icicle. First of all, a very romantic setting for that dinner with Barbara, I thought.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, very professional, yes. But he goes and kills a dude. Well, seemingly, we don't really quite see the end of it, but
I mean, he's definitely frozen a dude.
Yes, but someone who is involved, or someone who was in the chain of command to what led to his wife's death, is basically what he's doing there. So, what a surprise! He had evil intentions on this trip.
I think what the surprise of this is that it's personal.
Yeah, it's not just Injustice Society business.
It's something that's just down for him. I think that is. I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely surprising it out of nowhere, like shocking, but it doesn't just stick to the formula again of just okay, well, he's furthering the agenda of the one thing that's going on this season. No, there's different things happening between these different villains.
Actually, John, another thing that this has, just to compare it to CW shows again, is that it's not felt the need to show all the main villains every episode. I think maybe Icicle gets the one scene every episode. But the Gambler, he's had 2 episodes where there's been a lot of them. But other episodes, he's happy to just not be there, right? And it's refreshing because they're not just shoehorning in. How many episodes? And I love Michael Emerson, who plays Benjamin Linus on Lost. But how many episodes when he was on Arrow as what was his character again? I can't remember. I can't remember. But the point is, there was so many episodes with him and his team just stealing a computer gadget, and it was the same every episode where he was just monologuing sinister as these people stole this computer part because he's building some device that's going to do something, and it's funny because this team is also building a device, but the few times we've had enough to establish they're building something and that they're going to lens to get it, but it's been different things every time.
I agree, and the worst part is I can think of multiple examples of this on CW shows. The Thinker on The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
How many episodes did we have the ending tag of him with his wife building the next bit, or we're gonna go after them next? So much.
God, the rating on those shows are so terrible.
How did we get through them for so long? I don't know. I got through half of them blind drunk, so I don't know how you got through.
I don't know. They really wore me down after a while. So I'll see. I know this review almost turned into just that shit on the CW shows for a while, but
that's the problem with this show is because it does belong on the CW, and that's why it from way back when they announced that, it was like, okay, that makes sense, that okay, they're going to air it on there as well, because there are enough elements that fit on the CW and appeal to the same market is the most important thing there. But this has repeatedly shown, no, this is what CW shows should be, what they're theoretically capable of in terms of hitting that correct audience and still being good.
Well,
it's really hard not to constantly compare them.
Do you know what the problem is that there was a standard that was set, and I'm not just doing this to bring up Buffy, but there was a standard that was set in the 90s for what a show like this could be. And all these CW shows that are essentially trying to be, or try to emulate what that was, and they're so much poorer in rating quality that it's almost like at a time we just didn't know how good we had it. That it was that good. That it then got a spin-off, which was also good. And then even some of the shows that came soon after are, like, I don't know, an example. What else came out?
Do you want me to say something?
Yeah.
Quite heinous.
Oh God, what?
I'd rather watch Smallville than like any of the other CW shows that are on right now.
Oh wow, I don't know.
I think I would. I think I get more enjoyment out of it.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's better, but I'm saying I think I get more enjoyment.
Oh, I don't know. Although it has just occurred to me that, see, when we do the next vote, when we're friends with 6 Feet Under for patrons and we do the next vote, we should probably put like a bad option like that that we're willing to like go through for the comedy factor.
Okay, but only under the stipulation that I may end up drunk on a lot of those.
If they vote for it, they know what they're getting, right? So
That is fair, yeah.
they know what they're voting for if they do vote for that. But anyway, this has somehow been the Stargirl episode 8 review. We're sort of dipping in and out of it there. Solid episode though. Honestly, there's not a lot to complain about for me in this one.
I think there's a little bit less to talk about in this episode. It was actually very straightforward. It's very much part 2. I think it is a fair title for this episode.
I like that. I actually did like that Courtney spent a lot of the episode in her bed though. The idea being, no, she actually got injured. She's been told to rest. She doesn't want to, but there's consequences for getting hurt. She's not just like up and around and hiding things. Which is something they can maybe get to at some point, like, I mean, to bring up Buffy again, there was almost like a random joke where, or an ongoing thing where it was almost silly how much like Joyce would be washing blood out of her clothes and not really noticing. There'd be like a blissful ignorance to what's going on. The idea that Buffy should maybe be pretending to be injured more often or acting like stuff's been taking a toll on her.
Alternatively, on this one, how long can Courtney keep this up without Barbara really needing to know? Because at the end she gets back and Pat is like, look, I need to talk to you about something else, and she's like, oh, I'm tired, can it wait till tomorrow? And I'm sure that means it'll be put off for God knows how long now, but it does feel like it's only a matter of time. It
feels like something she'll know by the end of the season, if she's not killed by the villain. Which is possible.
Although I really hope not, because that would be some shoddy writing.
Was it just
I think at this point she is barely built up enough as a character.
Sure.
That it would feel pretty fridging at this point. They'd have to do some real work with her before they got to that point, I think.
Yeah, okay. I suppose I can see
especially if you compare her, like, in terms of the family dynamic, if you compare her to either of the other two, Pat or Mike, she's barely got anything.
Okay, yeah, she's the least known of the family for sure, but they're not going to kill off Mike. That'd be pretty dark.
That would be dark. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
That'd be very dark. Hey, Luke Wilson might carry the highest contract on this show. They may have to kill him off just because they're moving to CW and have to lower the budget a bit.
Do you think he commands that higher price?
I think he commands the highest on the show.
The highest on. Do you know what? I don't know about that. I think there's a fair, the main girl Courtney who come off like I don't know if it was Disney or Nickelodeon, but that brings its own contract weights, I think, in terms of appeal, that they have their own built-in fan bases already that they tend to carry across things. Okay,
even if he's the second most expensive, though, he's not the main character, so he's still more cuttable than Courtney.
He's more expendable, yes.
Yes. So even if she makes a little bit more than he does, cutting out his paycheck's still a pretty big cut to the money. So
yeah. Might help.
I'm throwing it out there. This would be like Calista Flockhart having to leave Supergirl.
Yeah, although that was a weird one where she just wouldn't move across.
Yeah, it wasn't like a money thing. It was
I feel like they might have just paid her if she was willing to move.
Yeah, they probably would have done, but hey ho. So okay, let's all hope for the best. Let's not write off what we think might happen when it moves to the CW. But I've seen a lot of concern. I mean, a lot of people on Twitter basically had the same reaction as me, which was,
oh no.
It was less oh no and more like yeah. It might be okay, but so,
yeah. I think we'll try not to worry about it too much for the rest of the season. But it was fresh this week.
Yeah. To be fair though, I do think it's a good sign for people enjoying this show, because if people are saying to that news, it means that they on some level like it and at least think it's better than those shows. So
there are people.
That's a gauge for like how people feel about it right now, which is, you know, is a good sign in terms of fandom. It's just, you know, a little bit worrying. So
Let's see if some CW execs can see all those tweets.
So we'll see. But that has been Shiv Part 2. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments. Please do liking is very important on YouTube. It lets YouTube know that you want to see more of this stuff and more people will find it. You can also support us via patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support us for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble. Otherwise, of course, check out other content from MailFuzz TV, including Comics from the Multiverse, which is our DC Comics podcast that we do every week, except this past week because there was no comic books out. But usually it's there every week. Talking about DC Comics, so go and have a look at that. Otherwise, that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?